Evening everybody, Silwall here, back for the Transformers review. You'll have to excuse the dodgy camera angle, but my room is still in the process of being decorated, so all my stuff completely, I've got bare shelves. Well, what shelves I've got, seeing as my mother broke 3 of them, are all bare, and my Transformers are all locked away. Well, they're not locked away, but they're all in 3 very large boxes. So to do a review, I've had to try and, without throwing everything out and sorting through everything, I've had to try and find a Transformer that is suitable for review, in my opinion. So we're going for the Team Bullet Train from the Robots in Disguise series, because I haven't done a Robots in Disguise toy review yet, and character review. Okay, first up, we have Railspike, and he is the leader of Team Bullet Train, and he's very polite. He's very gentlemanly. Always has good manners. Good manners to Railspike are paramount. Which in itself is a fair assumption. I mean, excuse me, no matter what kind of situation you're in, there's never an excuse for bad manners. Okay? I said he's the leader, and he's one of the ones that everyone gets along with. You know, he's the kind of Transformer that everyone gets along with. The Bullet Train team are the Autobots' muscle. They're the one that Prime comes in when the Autobot brothers can't handle it. Because they form the largest of the 2 Autobot assaults. The other one, of course, being the Build Team. And our idea is strange because there's I suppose you could say there's 4 combiners in it. Because you've got the Build Team, you've got the Bullet Train team, and they're made up of 4 and 3 respectively. You've got the Decepticons, who are just a total repaint of the Combaticons from G1, who form Rumination, who's a proper 5-man team, and then you've got Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus, and they form. I think in Japanese it's Super God Convoy or something to that effect. But the Bullet Train are only 3, and they seem to be a predecessor for Raiden from the Headmasters. Toy-wise, Railspike's probably the nicest. He's probably the most all-round of all 3 of them. But I'll get to the other 2 in a minute. He's definitely the nicest. The only fault I have with this toy is the way this pokes out. It just doesn't look right. It should. It's actually the head to Rail Racer himself. And it just falls down like that. Quite a nifty way of doing it, actually, because the way it transforms when you're putting it into Rail Racer is you turn the head backwards, you lift this up, and that just pops back in. So it's quite a funky way of doing it. Okay, second one on the go. We'll do Rapid Run next. Rapid Run's the brawler. He is the brawler of the team. He's the one that's more likely to go in all fists flying than anything else, and not a surprise, because he's very good at it. You know, he's a superb shot. You know, he rarely misses with his weaponry. He's I suppose you could say the combat grizzled veteran of the 3. You know, even his voice is very. I've seen it all. I don't mind nothing. That kind of sounding more like X-Brawn than anything else. But there we go. Toy-wise, he's very anorexic. You know, he's very thin. That's just him in standing form. You can see he's very thin. I don't like this bulging out bit in the front. I mean, in the cartoon he has that anyway, and RID, the way they transform, is very similar to the way they transform in. I'm losing Midnight Express. Is very similar to the way that the toys come out. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Instead, he is the toughest of the 3. He's the strongest of the 3 in the Bullet Train. Okay. Now, lastly, the third one we have is Midnight Express. Midnight Express is, well, in the English translation, he's very gay. He comes across extremely camp. But that's because he's the most easygoing of all 3. He's the jovial one. He's basically the Sideburn of the Bullet Train team. The way that where you have the 3 Autobot brothers, which of course is Prowl, Sideburn, and X-Brawn. Now he's the one that's more likely to make a joke of any situation, but when the going gets tough, you know, he is not afraid to get stuck in there. You know, he really isn't afraid to get stuck in there. He's very likeable. You know, he's a very likeable character. and he's very well liked by all the other Autobots, though you don't really see it in Robots in Disguise. Aside from one episode where Mirage and the Spy Chain is concerned, you don't see a lot of anonymity between them. They're all very much, oh yes, all huggy huggy pally pally. That could just be the English translation, I don't know. As for the toy wise, I mean, the toy, talk about feffing weird. You've got, the legs are humongous. They really are huge, and they're not jointed properly. His knee is up where his thigh should be. He's not jointed properly, and whether it's the way whether I've transformed it wrong, but the head doesn't sit properly. You can see the head just there, and you've just got to tilt it up slightly like that. Maybe I haven't transformed it properly in this one. In fact, I probably haven't, because some of the pin joints in this are actually really there we go. No, I hadn't transformed it properly. There we go. That's better. You can't really tell in this light because he's. You can't really tell in this light the destinations of the face, because the face is actually quite nice on all of them. There's a good bit of definition on them. The eyes, for instance, are red. Oh my! I just went into the colours. Wow. Okay, first for me. Fair. I went into the colours. Shit. Okay. Anyway, that's the three of them in conditionally. A little bit more actually on Midnight Express as the toy. These giant shoulder waves panels don't look very good. It's like you could take them off and you could surf with them. And he's got very weedy arms. I'm really not impressed with Midnight Express as a toy. Okay, I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to put them together, because this is me and it's going to take me an age to figure out how to put the damn things together. So I'm going to put them together and then I'll be back with a review of Rail Racer himself, so just bear with me. Okay, I'm back. It's a little bit darker, as you can tell. It's taken me a while because the middle part of this Just is a bugger to get into place. It's a lot of exact fiddling and fumbling and everything else, okay? This is Rail Racer. Now, Rail Racer is different to most combiners. You can't really see that very well. I'm going to put it back a little bit. He's different to most combiners in that he refers to himself as we. So Rail Racer does seem to be fully aware that he is a mixture of the three that combine him. Of Rail Spike, Midnight Express, and Rapid Run. And that's different to what the combiners of the Generation 1 series did, who always refers to himself in the first person, except for maybe Bruticus, who tends to refer to himself as Bruticus. Bruticus outnumbered, but Bruticus will win. They refer to themselves in the first person. The Decepticon ones do tend to call themselves by their name. Instead of saying I, they'll say Predaking or Devastator. But then some of the combiners like that only have basic rudimentary intelligence. Actually, that might be a good review, actually. Doing a personality review of the combiners in their cartoon forms without the toys. That might be an interesting review. Because I've had this conversation with a good few people. But anyway, that's not the point. Also, unlike Generation 1 combiners, Rail Racer isn't this lumbering brute. He's very agile. And I suppose with the name like Rail Racer, he would be. He's extremely quick on his feet, much faster than you'd expect for somebody of his size, because he is the biggest of all the Autobot combiners. Well, of the two, maybe /3 Autobot combiners. He's much more gentle he's much more gentle. He seems to have a personality that matches the more jovial members of the team, which would be Rail Spike and Rapid Run. Though he does have, of course, Midnight Express's tendency towards aggression, but he's quite a jovial character. He's very loyal. I know he's very loyal. He never questions. If something needs to be done, he believes that it's for the good of the Autobot cause. Which, of course, with Optimus Prime being the good and noble Optimus Prime that he is, it is for the good of the world. Okay, onto the toy itself. Now, the three trains that make up Rail Racer, they do seem to be. So I'm trying to do this so I've actually got a decent angle. Hang on, let me see if I can tilt the light a second. Okay, that seems to be a little bit better. Yeah, they do seem to be intended to be kept and displayed in their giant robot format. Because, as I said, the individual things with the other toy are quite glaringly obvious. Okay, he's a bulky transformer, and the other three you could accuse him of being a little too thin. They're not quite rounded enough. Rail Racer doesn't really have that. He has that all-rounds that is missing in such other combiners as Menasor. He has weapons. He has the shield from Midnight Express, and then he has a gun that he's made up of the signature of the two weapons from the other two, from Rapid Run and Rail Spike, and it does the obligatory. Hang on. There you go. Does the obligatory light up. Do 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 do. Do do do. There we go. It also has, of course, the standard shoot the missile. I didn't catch that one. Oh well. Yeah, not a bad toy. Not a bad toy. The first of my RID collection, which I do actually intend to complete at some point. I've got Sideburn and Prowl on the way to me, so I just need to find the next Brawn. The Spy Changers are kind of hard to find, and also what my favourite character in RID, Skybite. He's very hard to find as well. I've looked for him several times and I can't find him, but that's really only on eBay, which is pretty much the only store that I use. But yeah, good toy, a nice toy in this form. In this form, he's a nice toy, and he's a fairly decent size. Though, like most combiners, he's not in scale. He's not in scale. RID Megatron, for instance, who my friend Adam has, he's probably about the same size. And God Magnus, which is the combination of Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus from RID, tower over him. He's huge. If I can get him, I will do as well. But I know he's a finicky bugger to put together, because the Ultra Magnus in RID, without going too much into it, is more like a jigsaw puzzle than anything else. So there we go. Okay, but that's Rail Racer. Great character. The toy's nice, but because of how finicky it is and because of the way some of the joints are, he's nothing to write home about. But yeah, I do like Rail Racer. I do like the toy, as I said, apart from the faults I've picked out. Price-wise, you could be looking at anything from if you can buy him second-hand, you might, because RID obviously is not as well known as some of the more modern day Transformers are, because the RID really only didn't really make it huge outside of Japan, despite having a proper English dub with some great lines in it. So you might get him relatively cheaply. I got mine in a box set. I think mine for the full box set was £45. So I'm not entirely sure. But that's Rail Racer. I shall be back shortly enough with another review. So obviously do keep watching. But in the meantime, this is Silverbolt with Rail Racer saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.